Nigeria's debt profile is put at $64 billion. Although this is mind-blowing, economic analysts believe that the incoming government will stabilize the economy by cutting down on the cost of running government and maintaining a manageable expenditure profile. An economist, Mr. Tilewa Adebajo, told our correspondent, Christico Pokwola, that the All Progressive Congress should begin by blocking the leakages in the oil sector.
Well, I think from the earlier discussion, it's more or less conceptual at the moment. There's a review of the manifesto and the information available to us, which is basically what the president-elect said during his campaign, and which has been distilled by what the presentation of Dr. Fayemi at the Lagos Business School, and more recently the event of the last 2 days. Hopefully we should get a communique from the last 2 days to begin to see the direction that they're going through. But more so from a policy thrust, I don't think we'll be seeing too many changes. The only areas that we need clarify is to see the areas of private sector-led economy and the presidential views on privatization, to see if he's going to continue with privatization, because he's made some statements during the campaign trail that he might deprivatize, to quote him, and I'm going to quote his words. So in terms of what the policy or the transition committee has done, it's quite clear that there are lots of challenges in terms of the economic fundamentals, and that has to do with the issues around deficit financing and how much debt they might need to use to be able to sustain the budgets. But hopefully by the inaugural speech of the president, we should be able to get a clear indication of his economic direction. And by the time he puts his economic management team in place, we can begin to get a better idea of how they will articulate those policies.
Now, you talked about the country's rising debt. It does look like the incoming government is inheriting some huge debt. Now, in the face of recent strike threats by some 18 states due to the fact that they are owing civil servants, what strategies do you think the incoming APC government should be employing to tackle the country's, should I say, mounting debt profile?
Well, I wouldn't really call it a rising debt profile, because if you take a look at the debt profile, $60 billion over a GDP of 520 billion. Is still quite sustainable. The issues around the debt really has been the rising cost of debt financing. If you take a look at the profile for the debt financing, from a low point of about 200 billion, it's gone up to about 900 billion, and most of that in the last 4 years. So the issues with the debt really is around the cost of the debt and how we can change the mix of our debt profile for government to access cheaper sources of funding. The state governments have to come to a point of reality, in the sense that I mentioned what I call a bipartisan conspiracy. And that conspiracy means that on both sides of the divide, we haven't really addressed the counter-cyclical effects of our economy. And anytime oil prices are down, we complain there's a problem. We shouldn't. We should have put in strategies in place a long time ago to be able to see us through these problems. So really, I don't have any sympathy personally for this situation. It's something that you could manage and you should avoid and should be part of your game plan. We all do it in our personal lives in terms of saving for a rainy day.